who are doing business. And when I ran for president, I did commit that I will have a diaspora department whose business it will be to manage the affairs of Kenyans in diaspora, to respond to their issues, and to serve them so that we can better leverage on the expertise, the knowledge, the efforts of people in diaspora to drive the development of our country. I'm very happy with what Roslyn Jogu, my PS for Diaspora Affairs, working under PCS here, and him and his team with Isaiah here, and all the other members of that team will continuously work with the embassy staff to see to it that Kenyans in the diaspora are served as best as we can, just the same way we work for the rest of Kenyans at home. Finally, I am sure you are following on developments back home in terms of the implementation of our program and our plan. Just so that you know, our housing program is underway. We have close to 150,000 houses being built around Kenya. Majority of them will be ready this year. In fact, I will be handing over keys to the first 4,000 units next month, and it will be continuous. You now have an opportunity working in the diaspora to buy some of those housing units. You do not have to depend on your family members or your friends, who I am told occasionally run away with your money. You will now have a place to buy a house without any hassle. And the ministry responsible for housing will let you know how you can book for a unit online. You don't need to know anybody. You don't need any brokers. You don't need to see anybody. You can book a unit online. And somebody's going to tell you exactly how that is done shortly. To also tell you that I did commit that we are going to have a different savings culture. As you are aware, since independence, we have been paying a very small fraction for our social security. In fact, up to 2 years ago, we were paying 200 shillings for everybody to National Social Security Fund. And in 60 years, we only managed to save 320 billion shillings. In fact, we have a smaller social security, smaller than Tanzania and smaller than Uganda. Yet we have a bigger economy. But I made the decision that we are going to change the regulations and the law governing savings in Kenya. Why? Because investment is a function of savings. You cannot invest if you don't have any savings. You have nothing to invest. And just for your information, China, savings in China is 55% of their GDP. In Kenya, we were at 8%, maybe 9%, maybe 10%. It is my intention to push savings as a percentage of GDP to between 25 and 30%. That is where majority of countries are. And because of the changes we have made, the good news is that while we collected or saved 320 billion shillings for 60 years, in 2 years, we have doubled our savings, just in 2 years. By the end of this year, we will have 650 billion shillings saved because of the changes we have made. And by 2027, we will have 1 trillion saved. That is why I am not very popular with people who don't want to save. But for the people who want to save, they know what difference that is making. And that is how we are going to stop borrowing from other countries. We will be borrowing from our own savings to finance our own development. And if we must pay interest, let us pay interest to our own workforce in Kenya who are saving, instead of paying interest for, I don't want to mention countries where we are borrowing, where we are borrowing money. You know, the money we are borrowing from China, for example, is savings of the Chinese people, right? And you know that we are paying interest, and we are not paying small money. Why would we not pay Kenyans who are saving? That's the question I ask. So I'm very happy with the progress that we are making, and progressively people are beginning to see the reality of some of the interventions we are undertaking. I am also sure that you are aware that we have reformed our funding of our education system. We have straightened the CBC program that your chairman talked about. In 2022, there was a very big debate as to the implementation of CBC and the direction it was going. Immediately I came into office, I set up a presidential task force that gave us a way forward. And in 2 years, we've hired a record 76,000 teachers to support that program. We have changed the funding model. Today, the 23 universities that were almost bankrupt, if you speak to the vice chancellors of those universities, they will tell you the new funding model. And I have one chancellor here, who is a member of the diaspora. This Chancellor of Cooperative University. He will tell you that that new funding model has made a whole difference in funding our universities and making sure that children, especially from poor backgrounds, get scholarships up to 90%, so that we give equal opportunity to all our children and that our education system leaves no child behind. You may also want to know that we have rolled out our universal health coverage program, commonly known as Taifa Care or SHA. And I was looking at the numbers last night. I get a report every evening at 10 p.m. And yesterday, 55,000 Kenyans registered. On average, every day, between 45 and 60,000 Kenyans register. For the first time, people who have never been on health insurance are experiencing health insurance. In the past, NHIF was reserved for people who were either salaried or they were in a position to pay. This time round, we have rolled out universal health coverage, a matter we have always wanted to do. I remember the NAC administration wanted to do it. And I remember we tried to do it under the Jubilee administration.